Hello, and welcome back to the fourth and final entry in our countdown of Ben Roethlisberger's 100 best touchdown passes. Now, we've already dissected and analyzed to a great extent what makes a great scoring play. A lot depends on whether or not the ball traveled 20, 30 yards downfield, whether Ben was scrambling in the pocket, and of course, whether the ball was thrown in September in the state of Ohio or in the month of January to help the Steelers advance in the playoffs. Now, for the most part, great touchdowns by that measure are pretty easy to rank, and therefore, Ben Roethlisberger's career has in turn been pretty easy to rank amongst his NFL contemporaries. Generally speaking, everyone agrees that Ben Roethlisberger wasn't quite as good or quite as prolific a passer as Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, for example, but he was certainly better than the likes of Eli Manning and Philip Rivers, who he was drafted with in 2004.
What's harder to rank and quantify is how well Ben has transformed himself since he came into the league. And I'm not speaking of Ben the player necessarily. I'm speaking of Ben the person. I mentioned in part 1 of our countdown that Big Ben wasn't always the ideal teammate or even the ideal Pittsburgher. Different controversies surrounded him throughout the early phases of his career. But along with becoming a husband and father, Ben appeared to mature at a tremendous rate. And even as controversies followed him onto the field, such as in his acrimonious split with Antonio Brown, Ben turned the other cheek. Ben's also seemingly found his calling, too. At a concert for the band Mercy Me at Pittsburgh's PPG Paints Arena a couple weekends ago, Ben appeared on stage with the band and vowed to donate meals to the homeless through the Light of Life Foundation for every t-shirt sold at the venue. It was an act that didn't receive much coverage from the local media, but then again, most acts of true good-heartedness don't announce themselves. The transformation seems genuine, and Ben seems to enjoy life post-football. It's a transition that other NFL stars all too often struggle with, and Ben ought to be applauded for his growth through the years. Ben's been through it all. He's experienced the dizzying highs of being the youngest Super Bowl champion in history to losing out on multiple chances to win a third Super Bowl while the team's championship window was wide open over the last decade. He lost almost his entire 2019 season due to an injured elbow. But as with most challenges he's faced, Ben accepted his circumstances and played with heart and courage, ending his career on his own terms and inspiring many along the way.
In truth, football is just a game. It's full of plays that in any other context appear really meaningless and trifling. But for Ben fans and Steelers fans, there's something to these plays. These touchdowns tell the broader story of triumph, setback, and redemption. It's the reason why we've been so happy over the last 10, 15 years of his career to spend our Sunday afternoons glued to a television set. Definitely, there is something more to football than just throwing a football around. And that's why I'm glad to present to you the top 25 touchdowns of Ben Roethlisberger's career. Here we go.
We open with a long pass to Marcus Sweeten in 2015 versus the Seahawks that punctuated a career day for the former Oregon State wideout. Sweeten hauled in 9 passes that day for a staggering 201 yards despite the loss in Seattle, what many consider one of the strangest anomalies in NFL history. Certainly, Sweeten is one of the more obscure names to ever explode for 200 receiving yards in an NFL game, but if you've ever seen him play, you know he had a ton of untapped potential, and was definitely one of Ben's more undervalued targets. The next few touchdowns on the list come in the course of big victories over division opponents. At 23, we have a game-clinching touchdown to Eli Rogers in 2016. Catch is one of only a few touchdowns Rogers scored for the Steelers throughout 2016, the year the Steelers' wide receiving corps was decimated by injury and suspensions. Rogers was forced to step up many times that year, and this grab is a highlight on a year most thought the Steelers would be lost without another big name to complement Antonio Brown. One of the big names missing from the 2016 wide receiving corps was Martavis Bryant, who makes his final appearance on the list with an acrobatic grab of a Roethlisberger pass. Here, the former Clemson star pins the ball to the back of his thigh while tumbling to the ground in the back corner of the end zone. The game would go on to be best remembered for the Bengals pulling a defeat from the jaws of victory thanks to a brutal hit from Vontaze Burfict and a subsequent unsportsmanlike penalty by Adam Pac-Man Jones. But it took every bit of 6 points scored here to get the game to a point where the Bengals could bungle a playoff win into a playoff loss. Numbers 18 and 17 show some love to Steelers tight ends. Number 18 is a grab by Heath Miller in the course of the Steelers' shocking upset victory over the Colts in the 2005 AFC Divisional game in Indianapolis. And number 17 is a sixth and final touchdown pass in a blowout victory over the Ravens at Heinz Field in 2014. This one goes to Matt Spaeth off a play-action pass on fourth down that features a dive by Spaeth, who just barely crosses the goal line as he's tripped up from behind. We have a long touchdown pass to Plaxico Burress in Ben's rookie year to blow things wide open against the Patriots in 2004 at number 16. At number 15, the game-winning catch and run from Isaac Redman against the Ravens in 2010. And at number 14, a pass to Antonio Brown off a fake spike against the Cowboys in 2016. This play would have ranked much higher as it occurred in the final minutes, and would have secured victory if not for the defense and a bad angle by Jarvis Jones allowing a long touchdown by Ezekiel Elliott on the Cowboys' next possession. At number 11, we have one of the few touchdowns that combines almost all the features of the great Roethlisberger touchdown pass. A scramble, a pump fake, and a long throw 20-30 yards downfield. It's a pass to Willie Parker versus the Broncos in 2006 that, although thrown in one of Ben's worst statistical outings that year, truly epitomizes everything that made Ben so special. After evading pressure and rolling to his left, Ben scans the field before heading back to his right, throws a couple pump fakes, and then sets his feet to fire off a strike to Parker in the end zone. It's one of the few touchdown connections between Parker and Ben, which is odd considering the longevity of Parker's career in the black and gold. In his Steelers run, Fast Willie only caught 5 touchdowns. For reference, Najee Harris has caught 3 in just his rookie year. Finally, we crack our way into the top 10, and at number 9, we have another hallmark Roethlisberger touchdown pass featuring a hard-stopping scramble and series of pump fakes. This one is a pass to Santonio Holmes in Cleveland in the receiver's rookie year, and it's a first scoring grab of his rookie season. Foreshadowing what would turn out to be a clutch connection over the ensuing years, Ben scrambles to his right and fires off a pass to Santonio, who hauls in the football in the back of the end zone. At number 8, Ben likely sets his own personal record for the longest scramble in the course of throwing a touchdown pass. Here at Jerry World in Dallas, Big Ben spins out of a sack and spends about the next 7 seconds scanning the field before finding Heath Miller, who rumbles in for the score. It's a play that's hard to do justice by simply describing it, and the relatively subdued play call by Nansen Sims doesn't rise to the moment. At number 7, we have another play that seems to appear in just about every video of Ben's career highlights, a long 47-yarder to Antonio Brown against the Colts. Here, Ben nimbly steps out of a sack before heaving the ball downfield to Brown. At 6, we have Ben's most famous connection to the former Steeler, Raider, Patriot, and Buccaneer, the Immaculate Extension. This game-winning pass against the Ravens on Christmas Day in 2016 is remembered mostly for the great effort by Brown at the goal line. But the wherewithal by Ben to fire off a pass at the goal line with the division on the line shows a certain coolness that few quarterbacks can muster. Just ask Russell Wilson and Malcolm Butler. Now that we find ourselves in the top 5, we can count on the fact that each pass will come in a playoff victory or, failing that, an immense comeback win in the regular season. At number 5, it's a long catch and run by Santonio Holmes off a scramble by Big Ben in the 2008 AFC Championship game versus the Ravens. In this play, Holmes will continue to chart new ground for himself as a reliable playmaker in an unforgettable postseason run. Every play Holmes made here was needed in order for the Steelers to secure a trip to the Super Bowl that year, especially considering a sprained knee Ward suffered earlier in the contest. At number 4, a healthy, younger Hines Ward takes the spotlight in what is perhaps the pinnacle of Big Ben's wild, gunslinging early days. This time, in 2005's AFC Championship game in Denver, Ben rolls left, throws another series of his classic pump fakes, and fires over a slew of defenders to find Ward in the back of the end zone. After the play, Ben celebrates by firing off imaginary bullets with his fingers, mimicking a Western hero in the heart of Denver, Colorado. It was an unusual sight to see given Ben's propensity to simply point to the air after touchdowns, which was a tribute to his late mother, but nonetheless warranted given the athleticism it took to get the play off. At number 3, then rookie Mike Wallace takes center stage in 2009 versus the Packers at Heinz Field. In a game in which he already scored one touchdown, Wallace ups the ante with Ben on a long throw and catch that is secured with mere inches to spare along the left side of the end zone. The play would foreshadow great things for the connection of Ben and Mike Wallace. The Packers would have the last laugh just one season later in Super Bowl 45. For a time, though, considering the Steelers would lose Santonio Holmes and soon depart with the aging warhorse Hines Ward, this play exemplified the greatness of Big Ben and his trust with young, up-and-coming wide receivers. Wallace, Antonio Brown, and Emmanuel Sanders weren't called the Young Money Crew without reason. If it weren't for Ben, the three wouldn't have amounted to much in their football careers. In the penultimate touchdown on the list of Ben Roethlisberger's 100 best touchdown passes, we have yet another scramble and throw by Ben in the waning seconds of a football game, this one going to Santonio Holmes in Baltimore's M&T Bank Stadium in 2008. As I mentioned earlier, the Steelers needed every bit of Holmes' greatness in order to get to the mountaintop that year. And here, the ball just barely crosses the goal line to secure 6 points and a victory to win the AFC North. This play may still be the subject of controversy in Baltimore, but it proves that football is the ultimate game of inches, and furthermore typifies just how neck and neck the Steelers and Ravens were in this era of AFC North football. Before we close out the list, it's worth looking back at the sheer scope of the touchdowns we've covered so far. There have been touchdowns representing every phase of Big Ben's career, thrown to all kinds of different teammates. We've got passes to Hall of Famers or Hall of Fame caliber players like Hines Ward, Heath Miller, and Antonio Brown, and lesser-known names such as Darius Hayward-Bay and Jericho Cotchery. But for Ben, there's one touchdown and one moment that clearly stands above the rest. So much has been said of this throw and catch that adding anything more seems almost pointless. Almost every hyperbolic phrase in the English lexicon has been uttered to describe this play. Words such as miraculous, amazing, incredible, even such adjectives don't seem to come close to encapsulating everything this play meant to Ben and Santonio's careers. Nonetheless, it is without a doubt the greatest play in Ben's career. Even though it doesn't feature a signature scramble and offers just one brief fleeting second of a pump fake, the play comes in the biggest moment imaginable in the course of the season, with everything everyone has worked so hard for on the line.
What makes it even more impressive is that the play is almost a mirror image of the play that occurred previously, a throw which went incomplete. Although this time, Santonio comes down with the score, ensuring the Steelers their 6th Super Bowl title. The throw and catch is not just the greatest play in Ben's career, but maybe the greatest play ever, and possibly the most entertaining game ever played. When Ben goes into the Hall of Fame, this play will be the biggest reason he is enshrined, and ought to be played ad nauseum next to his bust. Well, there you go. That does it for our countdown of the 100 best Ben Roethlisberger touchdown passes. I hope you enjoyed the videos. I hope you found some touchdowns maybe you forgot about, some touchdowns that brought back memories, and maybe you found some touchdowns that you thought didn't belong on the list and thought of some touchdowns that do. In that case, I hope you like, comment, and subscribe and share with me some of your personal favorite Ben Roethlisberger memories. Thanks so much again for watching, and I hope you visit yinzercrazy.com for all the latest and greatest in Pittsburgh sports coverage.